We'll be fine. I'm going live.
Oh, we're live.
Right.
We're live.
Yeah,
Don't let anyone hear you were saying we haven't talked about what we're going to talk about.
I don't think they did.
I think it's a bit late.
Let me just check. I just want to see, because sometimes it doesn't go through.
We are. We forgot it was time to actually go live.
No, having a nice old chin rag. Right. Okay. Yeah. No, we're definitely live, which is good. Oh, someone's echoing. Is it me?
No, it's because I was just getting it up on me the soul system. So and I had the sound was on. Anyway,
it's so nice to chat. It's so nice having you on today. So I think I've loved it because we've done the whole mind, body, and then spirit is now this week, isn't it? So it's that's one of my favorite topics as well. And what I love about your story is the whole, oh yeah, I'm not really spiritual. I don't know how to do this. It's something else that other people are doing. And then you had this massive epiphany, not just in the presence of anyone, but in the presence of the Ra goddess out in LA. So I think one of the things that I always come across as well is that people think spiritualism is this like kind of defined set of rules of what you have to look like and what you have to follow and what you have to do. And, you know, you got to be wearing mala beads and drinking green tea all the time and sat cross-legged and, you know, possibly have dreadlocks in your hair and all that type of thing. So it'll just be really good to hear your story because I think it's fantastic. But yeah, go for it.
Thank you. Yes. So a bit of a backstory first. So I haven't worked in corporate for 20 years. Like the word spiritual wasn't even in my vocabulary, to be fair. And I now know when I reflect back doing what I do, I was just, as I said in my pause, like one of my mantras was get shit done. That's what we used to say. And like Donna and I would say, it's a badge of honor. We just keep it real. We'll get shit done and power through and and my testosterone levels must have been through. Like I used to say to my friends, like sometimes I feel like I'm a man. I'm not joking. This is what I used to say because I was just had all of this. Now I know masculine energy. Yeah, too much masculine energy and not enough feminine energy, which I'll come on to. I didn't even know that was a thing until I'd been to LA. Anything about energies. So, and I wouldn't ever have said I'm non-religious. I always believed there was something, is what I would say. So I go to church I got married in a church, and I go to church every Christmas on a morning, once a year. And I always have enjoyed it. Holly, you know, I used to take Holly to church. I enjoyed it when I was in there. I always knew that I enjoyed church, but I wouldn't really say that I was religious and I didn't follow anything. But I just believed there was something out there. And that's as much as I thought. And that was as much as it was in my conscious mind, but it's not something I would think of every day. Yeah. So when Donna and I set the business up 2 years ago, it's our second anniversary coming up this month.
We need to celebrate that on the
we will. June the 18th is the official birthday. But when we set the business up, like Donna's obviously been practicing this stuff, but again, we didn't. Donna's just saying we used to say she had a penis. I think you should. I think you should flash that up again.
Can I do it?
Flash it. I used to actually say,
like,
what would it be like if I was a man for a day? Do you know what I mean? Like, because I was had all this testosterone flying around. So when we started the business, and Donna started talking about affirmations and meditation and spiritual. We didn't probably use the word spiritualism, but all of these techniques, which are spiritual, it was all new to me. Literally, I was like, and then Donna was like, you are doing your affirmations. You just don't know that's what you're doing. And you are practicing like the law of attraction. You just don't know that that's what you're doing because I wasn't aware of it. So I was doing stuff, I would say. And literally everybody that's watching, like 2 years ago, I didn't meditate. I hadn't ever meditated. So I had to start off with 5 minutes a day because it was just something so new. I hadn't really even come into my conscious awareness. So this is like new information for us.
That's the thing, though, is that I think is that people sometimes have this misconception that people say that when they're spiritual or they're into spiritualism or whatever, that they've been doing it for 20 years and, you know, and they're doing 2 hours a day and stuff like that. That's not the case. It's you've got to do what suits you, don't you?
Absolutely. And I was going to yoga, and I knew that in yoga at the end, when you lay down with your blanket and, you know, but it was the yoga, it was the physical yoga. It wasn't Kundalini like I now practice every week, but it was just, you know, in my head, it was the lying down quiet bit, tuning in. I still didn't recognize that was it. I was just like, oh, you know that bit at the end of the yoga class where you relax. I really like that. Like, I just hadn't ever made a connection. So I started to learn about the stuff that Donna was doing, the spiritual one of us too. And then I was, you know, helping clients, talking to clients about it, but I still hadn't made the link that I was spiritual. It just wasn't any conscious awareness. So last September, so bearing in mind, I've been doing the business with Donna for 15 months at this point, talking to people about stuff. And sorry, I'll miss it out before I go to September. When I got the Gabby Bernstein book, The Universe Had Your Back, it literally blew us away.
Brilliant.
Because bearing in mind, I hadn't made a link with spiritualism, and then I read her book. Like literally, it was like it's one of the best books I've ever read in my life. And then I was reading Judgment Detox by Gabby Bernstein. And then I've been reading Marianne Williamson and all of these spiritual leaders. I like their books. I read loads of books, but I really like their books. Still hadn't made the link about why I like their books. Still wasn't consciously aware.
It's funny, isn't it? It's almost like it kind of snuck in, like by stealth, into your life, and you were like, yeah, okay.
So I'm reading all these books, loving them, like, oh, it's making us feel all goosebumpy. I'm talking to clients about all this stuff. And then goes to LA, very fortunate, in a $6 million mansion. Second day, Nick, our coach, was like, I've got somebody really special who's going to come and teach you. One of Gabby Bernstein's coach, the Raw Goddess. I mean,
I bet you almost fell off your chair, didn't you?
Come on, people. To be fair, because I didn't know I was spiritual, I didn't really know who she was. But I knew she was Gabby Bernstein coach, so that was enough for me. And this fabulous woman, like really street, like lady, she just had a lovely energy about her. So we're all sat round and she was teaching, and we all had like these worksheets and a piece of paper. It said the essence of me, and you had to sit and really tune into who you were. Like, who are you? And I'd written down like, whatever I'd written down, like authentic, loving, blah, 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 whatever it was. And
so
it
was more I just wanted to get into that a sec. So it was more the, like you say, the essence, not the who am I question. When you start to say, I'm a mother, I'm a business owner, you kind of get past all that and almost kind of go a little bit deeper, don't you?
Yes, it's like the true essence of who I am at the core.
Yeah.
So I had written 4 things down, and then there was like this, there was 5 spaces, and then there was just this blank space, and I was just like sat there, like, and then all of a sudden, like, it literally came through us, which I would now say that was the universe sending us this information. Didn't know that at the time. And I just wrote down, I am spiritual. And honestly, I was dumbfounded. Dumbfounded. I mean, this sounds ridiculous. When I told people, it sounds ridiculous saying it because of the evidence that was there in my life. And then I'm sat there and I was like, oh my God. I was literally just astounded by it.
But I think, isn't it interesting that as you're recalling the story, that's the word that you remember, and the previous 4, you know, you probably would if you had to think about them, you can't remember them. Yeah. And I think it's that whole divine timing thing as well, isn't it? Because it's almost like a case of you had all these clues as you were doing things and everything, and the universe was kind of giving you these clues, and maybe your conscious mind wasn't picking it up. So then they decided, well, okay, well, you know, how are we going to make this really clear to Cheryl? We'll put the Royal Goddess in front of her. I mean, really?
I mean, honestly, and then I remember, and then I was like, oh my goodness. So then all of this, as we know, once we unlock something, once we become consciously aware, awareness is the first step. Once it comes into your consciousness, it unlocks something. So all of this stuff then started coming in. So I was like, across the week, this was the Tuesday, I was there till the Sunday. I was like, all right. So that's why I really love Dr. Erin. I mean, we had a spiritual fucking coach, Dr. Erin. Divinity. I love going.
It's like, how many more clues do you need?
You know, like, anyway. So I was like, that's why I looked out and oh my God. Because at the beginning of the retreat, Nick had said, who was somebody you'd love to meet? And I was like, Marianne Williamson, Gabby Bernstein, Dr. Erin. Got to meet Dr. Erin. She was there.
Brilliant.
Then afterwards, when I realised I was spiritual, I was like, oh, that's why I love Gabby Bernstein. That's why I love Marianne Williamson. That's why I love Dr. Erin. Like, it was just new information.
Resonating with you.
Connection. And then, like Donna saying, I literally, when I told the next day when you had a bit of a download at the retreat of like, what did you learn, this, that, and the other, and I was like, that everyone, like with this new information, I was like, oh my God, I've just realised I'm spiritual. And they're all like, because these were like, well, you could just, I knew that by just meeting you. Like,
it's funny, isn't it?
And I was like, what?
I think that's the thing as well, is when it's been something that's so subconscious and then suddenly it drops into your consciousness, to everybody else it just seems really normal, but to you it's absolutely mind-blowing. So I'm just thinking about, so you're a really down-to-earth person, Donna's a really down-to-earth person, you know, the Ra goddess is obviously a really down-to-earth person, same as Gabby Bernstein. I think the whole demystifying the spiritual aspect of life is so important, so that people don't think, you know, it's about being a monk sitting on a Himalayan mountain or whatever.
Absolutely.
What can you go into what your daily practice is, just to give a bit of an example of how you kind of tap into that energy on a daily basis then?
Absolutely. Well, I can tell you about the things that happened from September until now, and then how that's built into the daily practice. Because just one more thing, when I was in LA, about the next morning, they hired this woman to come in and do this yoga session with us. And when I was lying down at the end on the mat, this voice was coming through saying, you are a spiritual healer.
Oh, amazing.
Again, after so like one day I'm realizing I'm spiritual, the next day something's coming through telling us I am a spiritual
You're a healer. Yeah.
So it was as if something had opened up. What I did realize is from that moment that the universe, the spiritual, whatever is out there that we can't see, that Donna and I talk about and you talk about all of the time, is available to everyone. It's just we didn't know. So when people say to themselves, I am not spiritual, or I'm not religious, or this, that, and the other, we are all people having an experience in this body. What the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, that we can't see, the thing that helps trees to grow, that the sea helps the world, all of this world outside functions without people, doesn't it? Yeah, it's like whatever's making that happen is still there. We just didn't know that we could tune into it. I didn't know that it was available to us until I was 40. How old am I? 46. Until I was 46. I didn't know that I was available to me. Yeah. So
and it's almost important. Like we put all these layers on. Everything that you guys teach and coach with is all the layers that we put onto ourselves. You know, the external factors of, you know, self-belief and all of those types of things. Those things sometimes take us further and further away from that connection, because that stuff isn't in tune with what the universe is kind of out there for.
Absolutely.
Donna's just said as well, you sent her the text message from Elaine, it just said, I'm spiritual. She was hoping for a bit more.
Because obviously, like you're saying, this is, other people can see things in you, but if I hadn't tuned into it myself. So in terms of the practice, so what then happened was I was already meditating, so I increased my meditation practice. I probably do 20 minutes a day, really. In reality, I was doing 20 minutes twice a day. But in reality now, I kind of went through that phase where I was doing it twice a day. It probably is 20 minutes. Where I now know, because I have tuned in and connected to my feminine energy as well as the masculine, probably is I'm more in feminine energy than I am in masculine nowadays. That's where the inspiration and the ideas come from. So for anyone, again, when I'm meditating, I'm literally in bed, sat in bed with either a guided or just some silence and just sat. I do have my hands in
mudra.
And I'm just sitting in silence, just, you know, allowing whatever it is to come through. And sometimes my mind's racing and I have to then remind myself to tune into my breathing and just, you know, try to quiet the voice down. But it's just that time to allow inspiration and creativity through. So when we talk about tuning in, allowing, it's giving yourself the time and space to be able to listen, tune in. Now, whether that could be, I mean, I went for a long walk as well this morning where I'm doing a bit of the same thing. I would still call it the same thing. I'm reminding myself to be present on the walk, to look at what I can see, to what can I smell, what can I hear, you know. So I'm remind myself to be present. But again, it's allowing tuning in, and sometimes inspiration and creativity can come when I'm out on a walk.
Yeah, and I think that tuning in. And it's important, isn't it? Because there's some of that's mindfulness that's bringing you to the present moment by actually then focusing on what are the trees doing, what does the wind sound like, what do my footsteps sound like, you know, that type of thing. You're giving your mind a break from the chitter chatter, and that's the restfulness that comes with meditation and spirituality, isn't it?
Absolutely. And sorry, go on.
I was just going to say we've got a question. I think it might be from Wendy. We'll pop it up here. Do you think the more down to earth you are, the higher you can power the catapult upwards to tune you into the universe, and broader your messages will go? Interesting. What do you think about that?
I think, and John and I have talked about this, and this is, you know, something that we want to explore. Like we say that Gabby Bernstein makes spiritualism street. She brings it down from it being sometimes complicated to the way people can understand. And one of Donna and I's vision is that we will do that. So, you know, we are mindset and leadership coaches, but we do encompass spirituality in our coaching. And we know as our business evolves and we're evolving, our mindset and spirituality is evolving like every day. That is something that we would like to do more of, is to bring some of that stuff that can be some of the book to read and you can't really get your head around what it's saying, is to just bring it down onto a more
grounded
level. What, you know, so that people can actually interpret it and understand it. Because like books that I read now, if I'd have picked them up 2 years ago, I wouldn't have known what they were talking about. So
and it's not like a linear process, is it? Sorry, I keep jumping in on you there, Cheryl, but I think it's where, like you say, the books that you wouldn't have picked up a few years ago, if you hear that in a different way. So similarly, if somebody else hears something that you and Donna have got to say, it will put them on a little path, you know, and off they go. And I think the thing with that is there's not like grades of spirituality. It doesn't matter where you are in all of this. I think if you're down to earth, what's good about that is it just keeps you really grounded. Because if you are then very ethereal and spiritual and what have you, and I'm sorry, I shouldn't use like hand gestures like this because it's making it seem like one's above the other, but I'm talking about sky and ground. But if you are very much in that ethereal sort of headspace, I think you can't make that what you're learning into practice in real life terms is what you're talking about. It's making it really accessible for people.
Yes. So I think the question for Wendy is, it's about the language. I think we're both saying the same, and it's about being ready to hear it and to tune in. Because if somebody told me about the universe has your back 2 years ago when I was in corporate, I probably wouldn't have been interested in reading it, because I would have been reading books about high performance and stuff.
Get shit done.
So it's about the journey and the time and that you're on, that you're ready to. And Donna, put that quote in, Donna, about what you say about the book. You can read a book at different time, but it's something about not what's on the page, it's about you. Donna's got a good quote about that one. But other things in terms of my daily practice. So I then was fortunate enough, Andrea Callanan, who was one of the other teachers, she was then talking about crystals and oils. And she's like, I never go anywhere without crystals and oils. So she then got this little bag of crystals out and gave us all one. And I was like, oh my goodness, I've never even really thought about crystals, had a crystal. So then she gave us another one. I think she gave us two. So I came home with these 3 crystals. And actually, when I was walking along, what's the famous beach called in LA? Muscle Beach.
Yeah.
There was all these like different stalls and street markets and stuff. And I went in and I bought Donna a crystal.
Oh, amazing.
Heart crystal. So I came back with 3 crystals, and I took one to Donna, but then I got a little bit fascinated with crystals, so I found a local shop, which I would never have gone into, like the Blue Moon Crystal Shop, because it sells like incense and stuff. I would have thought that people who went in there were like smoking weed and, you know, this, that, and the other. It just would never have occurred to us. So I was like, oh, so I took Holly in, I took my mum in, my mum got some crystals. I've got quite a few crystals. Holly did. I gave some to Graham. Like literally, as a family, we were all exploring this crystal thing with energy. So I have got a few different ones, which literally sounds bizarre, but when you pick them up, they give you energy. So
they resonate, energy, don't
they resonate.
Yeah.
So that is something else that I use. So I have crystals around us in the house, and when I'm coaching and in sessions, I'll hold a crystal if I want to energize myself. But in my meditations, I like, because I was doing this 40-day challenge with Dr. Erin, where I was meditating twice a day silently for 20 minutes, I really started to tap into, well, whatever you want to call them, like angels, what's it word called? Who comes in my ear? My spirit guide. Guide. So I've got a spirit guide called Edna. I know, like, when I'm meditating, I'm an eagle.
Oh, fantastic. So you got your spirit animal too?
I'm an eagle. And like, I've had my family members come to us. I've been through a phase where I've been through a dark tunnel and come out in light and felt like I was in heaven. I've had Graham's mum, who passed away when he was 18, come and give us a message. Like, so a lot of things, once I opened myself up to it, because it's available to everyone. Once I opened myself up and really tuned in. So sometimes I can be doing something, and then I get this funny feeling in me right ear, and I know that it's spirit, some spirits here around us. So that happened. And I started going to Reiki. So again, Donna found like a Reiki teacher, so I started going to Reiki, and yes, it was to resolve I've got a frozen shoulder and different things in my body, but again, it's another thing where it can just help with your energy. It can help heal you body-wise, but again, it's a form of tuning in, meditation. So we can't go now with coronavirus, but and then Kundalini, which you are a teacher of, so I do that every day. Online now, because I can't go to the class. But again, it's, you know, you've taught some of our groups Kundalini, and again, it's just giving yourself, this is all about time, and giving yourself time, giving yourself space to look after your self-care, but also to just tune in and put some, like, I love doing Kundalini. It helps my body, but it helps me mindset wise, and like, I look at that now as work. So I don't go, oh God, I've got an hour and 50-minute Kundalini class in my diary on Friday. Oh, you know, I should be doing work, X, Y, Z. That is work.
That is your work, yeah.
Everybody, that is work. Like, you focusing it on your mindset and nourishing yourself and giving yourself the time and space to explore whatever is work. Like, it helps you doing what you're doing. It helps me, you know, it helps everyone. So like, the spiritual stuff is work.
And I think it's important because there's lots of different ways into this. So you might resonate more with Kundalini yoga, you might resonate with crystal healing, you might resonate with Reiki, and then you might resonate with it all at some point. But that's okay. You know, it doesn't need to be, right, I've got to tick the Reiki off, and then I've got to tick this off, and then I've got to tick that off. It's wherever you're at. Sorry, I've just posted that up there so I didn't lose that question as well. Why do you think some of us immediately dismiss spiritualism as fuss and nonsense? How would you change that view?
I think it's just like a culture thing, like a society thing, that like in the 70s, 60s and 70s, you know, it was more hippies, wasn't it? And people with white, you know, I like to wear white when I do Kundalini, but I don't wear a white robe, and I'm not like smoking ganj, you know, and wearing beads and things. And I just
taking LSD on a Friday,
yeah, I've done some of that, but you know, I'm only joking. Yeah, I think it's society and culture, and it comes back to beliefs. So we form beliefs based on what somebody's told us, what we've seen, what we think. And once we have a belief about something that's hippie or you're way out, or it's like, we might be afraid of it. So we
yeah, that's a good point.
that
Yeah.
That's for those type of people who sit and chant and, whatever else it is. So then we have this belief to be true, which doesn't match our identity about who we think we are. So therefore we just dismiss it and we judge it. So we judge those people, but actually there might be a little bit of fear going on there because it's something different and new that we might be a little bit afraid to acknowledge or explore. I don't think I felt like that. I wasn't judging. I was just unaware. It just wasn't in my consciousness to even think about it.
I think as well, look, because Donna's made a good point here, because she was saying, I think it's because it's been linked to religions and cults and crazy stuff. But essentially, it's just anything the eye can't see. And that's the thing, is we've been used to having these very kind of strict constraints about what religion and spiritualism looks like. And we're not saying spiritualism is the same as religion at all. But, not that, none of that is kind of the actual structure of it. It doesn't really matter. Like Donna says, it's everything that you can't see.
Absolutely. And I think, how would you change their view? Like, we all, until you believe, until you open up to, until you experience what the eye can't see, you're just relying on your own internal resources. So you're just constantly trying to come up and do and get and achieve, like, just within what you've got yourself. And that's okay if you want to do that. It's just you do have a choice, that you've got something available to you, everyone has, that you can't see. And if you want to open yourself up and tap into that, then you have to make the choice and decision. You have to want to explore it.
Yeah. And it doesn't come forced, because the way that you talk about your journey, none of it felt forced.
No.
It all unfolded exactly when it was meant to, didn't it?
Yeah. And that wasn't mine. That was the universe. That was God. Yeah. That was spirit. That was religion. Whatever you want to call it. Intervening, wasn't it? Wasn't me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You didn't through me.
Yeah, you didn't kind of go, right, on such and such a day, I'm going to know consciously something different about my life. It all just kind of happened exactly as it should.
Yeah.
In a really gentle way. I think that's the thing. I think sometimes we might set about the spiritualism thing and being spiritual in that kind of very earthy kind of way, and you're like, right, okay, where's my list? Where's my 10-step program to becoming enlightened? And that's not how it works.
No. It's being guided, and once you're on the path, and it's something that I have practiced to come out of the control, the hustle, the get shit done, and trying to raise my vibration, my energy, so that I practice, the universe flows through me, so that I allow.
That's such a good point, though, isn't it? That's a really, really good point. Is that there's a Kundalini yoga saying, which is raise your vibration so that you can help others raise their vibration, and that's kind of a take on the fill your own cup up before you fill others, isn't it? And I think you can't be in a place of service if you're depleted energetically. So everything that you're doing, like you say, is work. Yeah. Is part of what you need to do in order to be able to not deliver the service, because I don't want it to sound like it, but you know what I mean, to be of service.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And one other thing that Donna and I explored, which I would recommend, is we then invested in an energy healer. So she did some sessions with us. She did 2 sessions with us together, and she read our energy about where we bring strength, how we combine, how we work together, which was really, really cool. And then she did a past life regression card reading for me a couple of weeks ago, and just pulled some cards about I'm probably going a bit too far for people now, but she pulled some cards about what my 3 past lives have been. Amazing cards. And my next session, she's going to do a chakra reading for us. So I'm probably taking it a bit far for people out there, but
it's another route in. People might want to come in at an energy healer level than whatever else, so it's, if people know about it, so
yes,
not a bad thing.
Yeah. So yes, it's an ongoing journey, isn't it? Exploration and ongoing. But I must say, for anyone who hasn't explored it or opened themselves up, I feel so much better as a person. I'm happier. I'm joyous. Yeah.
and that keeps, that's the thing as well, is even at its very basic level, the whole thing about being spiritual is just tapping into what makes you joyous and doing that, and not that kind of superficial happy, as in that joy. Like if it's going out and paddling in the sea by the beach like you guys do, or you know, listening to the trees, or whatever it is, that raises your vibration that little bit more, doesn't it? So
absolutely.
Oh my God, we've hit 30 minutes already. I know. I knew this was going to go fast. Oh. Are there any more questions? I'm just going to have a quick look. I don't think there was any more. Let me just have a little.
I'm glad we got that flashing thing to work as well. That was good, wasn't it? The flashing.
I know. The flashing up thing. Yeah.
Bit of flashing while we're there, you see.
Bit of flashing, yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Cheryl, for sharing And yeah, so have we got Wendy tomorrow?
Wendy tomorrow, yes.
Wendy tomorrow. That'll be fantastic.
So that is something to look forward to. So, but thank you for interviewing me. It's nice being on the other side.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Right, we'll turn the live off now. See you later.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.